We thank everybody for coming today and helping us celebrate Mom and Dad's 60th wedding anniversary. Before we go on with the renewal of the vows, I just thought I would share a song with you. I heard this song a couple months ago, and my heart was really filled with gratitude as I listened to the message about the goodness of God and how through all the joys and difficulties of life, God has always been there. Mom and Dad, I hope this song will also touch your heart as you reflect back on your 60 years of marriage, on all the good times and the bad times, sickness and health, and know that through it all, God has been with you and blessing you. I love you, Lord. Oh, your mercy never fails me. And all my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire in my darkest night. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend. Oh, I have lived in the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. You lead me, Lord. You lead me and you guide me. Oh, faithful Father, your love floods my soul. You are my anchor in the winds and the waves. Oh, I have known of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Yes, I will sing of the goodness of God.
I'd like to thank Andrea and Walnuts Catering for the fantastic lunch. I'd also like to thank Father Jerry, who is now gone, but he was for the renewal of the vows and the grace. And definitely like to thank everybody for traveling near and far to attend the event. I'd like to give a special thanks to my sister Tracy and her family for coming all the way from Cold Lake. And Tracy was a big help with organizing this event. We pretty much talked every day for the last month and a half, so it's good bonding time for us too.
Yeah.
And I'd also like to say thanks to Jody, representing from Brooklyn, New York. It's awesome to see Jody. We always have a fun time. We get really goofy, and I always laugh a lot with all my siblings. So it's fantastic. But the reason we are all here today, of course, is to celebrate this amazing couple, the Brangelina of their time, Joan and Henry. Congratulations. First off, Mom and Dad, I have to say it was great to see you renewing your vows earlier today. It was very beautiful. I did want to ask you though, have you decided on going on a second honeymoon? Have you thought about that?
Got any suggestions?
Well, maybe when everything dies down, you might go on a nice cruise. The good news is if you do decide to go on a romantic getaway, and you start to get a little frisky, the good thing is you don't need to go to the pharmacy anymore to get Viagra. I'm very thankful that Father Jerry's not here. I paid him $20 to go. You see, it seems that Starbucks is targeting their elderly demographic now. And they've come up with a hot new beverage called the Viagra Chino. Yeah, Dad, you're gonna like this. All you need to do is drink 1 cup and you'll be up all night. Inspired to write the books. Like God was guiding him from pen to paper. Is that right?
That's right.
That is right. What really happened last week truly was divine intervention. A miracle, really. It was a serene September morning at the acreage, and Dad was alone in the prayer house, when all of a sudden the silence was broken by a booming, thunderous voice. Henry, my son, this is God. You have been a faithful servant to me, and I'm going to grant you one special wish. Dad became so excited because he knew that his wedding anniversary is coming up. So he said, God, I've always wanted to take Joan back to Hawaii one final time, but we're afraid to fly during COVID. So my wish is that you would build me a beautiful bridge, a bridge from the Lumsden Valley across the vast oceans to Maui. God said, son, that's totally impossible. Think of the logistics of that bridge. You need to be realistic. Now, please, Henry, take some time and wish again. So, Henry thought for a minute and then humbly replied, okay, God, I've been married for almost 60 years. During that time, my wife Joan says that I'm sometimes insensitive and that I don't listen to her feelings. I want to be the best husband I can be, so I wish that I can understand women. God, I want to know why women think like they think, why they feel like they feel, why they do what they do. There was a long pause, and God finally said, Henry, do you want your bridge built with 2 lanes or 4 lanes? You like Ricky Gervais. Just start roasting everyone. Okay. 60 years ago, 60. The amount of time I've been working here. No. But back to you. 60 years ago, at St. Mary's Parish, not that far from here, on Winnipeg and 13, Joan and Henry, Mom and Dad, Grandma and Grandpa got married, a union that has stood the test of time. Today, thanks to the enduring impact that your special wedding had, it's allowed us to celebrate that event again, but now at a place that Mom and Dad have created, with family that they have created and a legacy that they have created. Mom and Dad have kept their promise that they made to each other 6 decades ago, and their faith, love, and commitment has kept them strong through the lows and the many, many highs. During their marriage, Joan has always shown beauty, grace, patience, and empathy. Henry is creative, strong, artistic, and handsome. Henry's also stoic. Henry's noble, worldly, chiseled, some say, like a Greek god.
How much did you pay him, Dad?
In 1969, it was Henry who told Neil Armstrong, "No, Neil, you go first." Henry correctly guessed before anyone else that Bruce Willis was a ghost while watching The Sixth Sense. That was an underrated joke. It was Henry sitting at the front of the bus when he told Rosa, "Here, Rosa, you take my seat." Sorry, excuse me, everybody. Dad, I can't read your writing. What are these words that you wanted me to say? In fact, it was Henry who let the dogs out.
Very good.
Now, Mom and Dad, your commitment and love has truly been an inspiration to so many in this room. My brother Ken and his wife Leanne are going on 27 years of marriage. My sister Tracy and Mike, 30. And me and my beautiful wife Whitney, let's give it up for Whitney. We are celebrating our 19th wedding anniversary. And I know it's amazing. I can't believe it. And sometimes I'm at a loss for words. Every day I look into her gorgeous blue eyes and I hold her tight and sorry, I'm getting a little emotional here. I hold her tight and I think to myself, Whitney, you are so damn lucky to be with me. If anyone has a good couch tonight. But unfortunately, me and Whitney's 18th anniversary last year wasn't the greatest. As many of you can relate to, after many years of being together, spouses can easily become annoyed with each other. And last year, it seemed that Whitney was always finding something to nitpick about. Jason, trim your beard. Jason, stop watching football. Jason, stop making a honking sound when you squeeze my boobs. Blah, blah, blah. I don't see the problem in that. I'm not sure. So for our anniversary that year, being the special person that I am, I arranged an evening to remember. I ordered a stretch limo to arrive at 7 p.m. sharp. I booked a lovely meal at the finest restaurant in town, ordered the best bottle of wine on the menu, no expenses spared, and ended the night with intense passion. But of course, when I wake up the next morning, there's Whitney complaining in my ear, furious and yelling because, as usual, there's some little thing I must have done wrong last night. Apparently, she thought it would have been nice if I'd invited her along for the evening. Mom and Dad, all kidding aside, from myself, Ken, Tracy, Jody, Whitney, Leanne, and Mike, congratulations on your 60th anniversary. It is an incredible milestone, and we love you very much, and we're so happy that we're able to spend this event all together. I would like to give a toast to Mom and Dad for 60 years. Cheers, everybody. You see, about 5 years ago, Henry wasn't feeling very good and was experiencing shortness of breath, so we decided to see Dr. Patel, his East Indian family doctor. Well, a few days after the doctor appointment, Henry was at Wascana Park, smiling, laughing, and holding hands with a beautiful, voluptuous, much younger woman. Dr. Patel also happened to be walking in the park that day and sees Henry with his new babe. So the doctor walks up to Henry and says, "Well, Henry, you sure are feeling a lot better, aren't you?" Henry says, "Yes, doctor, and I'm just following your orders. You said get a hot mama, so I got a hot mama." "Henry," the doctor replied, "I didn't say you get the hot mama. I said you got a heart murmur."
That's why I go to him all the time.
All right, next up, we have William Jackknife to say a few words. Before I introduce him, I'm going to say William is the son of Tracy and Mike. William is a pretty strong, tough guy, but nobody is tougher than his dad, Mike. You want to know how tough Mike is?
How tough is Mike?
Mike is so tough that he has a grizzly bear carpet in his home. The grizzly bear isn't actually dead, it's just too afraid to get up. Mike is so tough that he once bowled. He once bowled a perfect game with a golf ball. Mike is so tough that he doesn't need a GPS. Mike decides where he is.
That's true. That's true.
And the last one, Mike is so tough that COVID has to get Mike Jackknife shots twice a year. William, everybody.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm William. So I guess I came into here not really knowing what to say, and Jason kind of took it away and what, but Grandpa and Grandma, you guys, 60 years, that's a long time. It's quite a while, and I look at myself, I'm not in a committed relationship yet, but me and Grandpa went for a drive yesterday, and we went to the dump and got some pizza. And took the mail, and Grandpa, the words that you gave me, just really touched me and myself, and Grandma, you as well too. Like, you guys are just such a great couple, and I look at my mom and dad, Ken and Leanne, and Jason, Whitney, and the bonds that you guys you've made, definitely flourish through the family, and I'm proud. I'm proud to be your grandson, and cheers.
Very good.
Cheers.
I was standing this exact podium doing the commentaries for fashion shows that we had twice a year. And so when we went into the trunk in the basement to find the old wedding dress, which had been in there for 60 years, there was also this book, this wedding book. And so I started reading it after all these years. And the part I'm going to read to you is what I wrote about our wedding day. With a big stretch, I yawned, looked out the window, and noted that it was a perfect day of the week. Such a change from the miserable weather of the week. It was Daddy who woke me the last time he would do so. At Hank's house, the same thing was happening. His dad performing the initial arousing, and the best men completing the ritual. I prepared a delicious big breakfast, but halfway through the second piece of toast, my excitement overcame me and I could eat no more. At 8:30, I was on my way to the hairdresser's, where I was supposed to relax while my hair was done, nails manicured, on the house in those days, and makeup applied. The results were pleasing and I got home around 10:30. Back at Hank's, the fellows were putting the final touches on the decorated cars. The flowers had arrived earlier, but lo and behold, 6 instead of 1 boutonniere had been sent to our house, and only 1 to Hank's. Jim and Don drove over to make the exchange. Bobby and Renee looked so lovely in their outfits, and both were calm, cool, and collected. I had just finished dressing when Harold, the photographer, came. Lest I forget, I must record what came under the traditional headings of something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. The old something was my undergarments, the new, my gown, the borrowed, the veil, and that's why it's not on display today, and the blue, the garter. A single strand of pearls encircled my neck, the beautiful gift from the groom. Daddy, being the enterprising type, worked until 11:30, then closed the store for 2 hours. This was an event in itself because that was only done for special events. So this wedding must be an extra special event. At last, high noon was nearing. Mom, Dad, the bridesmaids, and myself drove in the Buick to the church. The wedding started exactly on time, with Renee heading the procession. I didn't feel too nervous, but Daddy commented later that he thought my hand was going to shake off his arm. It was a beautiful long aisle to walk up, and to see my husband to be standing at the front with his attendants. As his hand slid into mine, I'm sure we both felt the relief that came when all your plans and dreams have worked out, and now we would be joined as one until death us do part. Tracy's going to read the engagement part for you.
Do you want me to?
Do you want to?
If you want me to.
Well, there's also the first part, which I wrote down first about the engagement, how we got, what I wrote about the day we got engaged. And we thought maybe Tracy.
So this is Mom's writing. The fall and winter of 1960s to 61, I was in Saskatoon taking my 3rd year of pharmacy, while Hank remained working in Regina, hoping to amass enough money so we could be married next fall. It was on the weekend of February 17th, 1961, that I came home to say goodbye to Mom and Dad, who were leaving for Hawaii on the 26th. There was a hope in my heart that this may be the weekend when Hank would pop the question. Nothing unusual happened Friday night, but when he surprised me by coming over Saturday afternoon, I thought that this may be it, but lo and behold, I was in my house coat and curlers. But it turned out to be a false alarm. We made plans to go for supper at La Habitant, a quaint French restaurant. While sitting in the car in front of the restaurant, the usual small talk was rallied back and forth, and it wasn't until he took off my Angora mitt and I heard a box snap in his coat pocket that I knew this was the moment. The lovely solitaire ring slipped on my finger as though it was always meant to be there. When we told the waiter our good news, he bought us a glass of cognac. After consuming a bottle of sparkling rosé wine and a scrumptious meal, we went to my house. Congrats were passed around. Then we proceeded to Hank's. Marlene Gray and Jim came over, and another bottle of champagne was consumed. On Sunday, the trip back to Saskatoon didn't seem so bad, because now I knew that soon we would be united together forever as husband and wife. I love him so much.
Oh dear. Wow, what a party. Thank you very, very much, everybody, for coming. And Jason and Tracy, you did just an amazing job. Thank you very much. I was going to thank Father, but Father snuck on out on this a little bit earlier. But I have a little more to say about him in a few minutes. But anyway, in spirit, we'll give Father Jerry a hand for saying grace and doing the vows for us so nicely. Okay. I also want to thank Gabe and Edith for coming up here and sharing a few stories. Gabe always used to come to the farm and help us load books for sale to the Costco stores or whoever. And before we always began work, Gabe had stories to tell. You know, we would stand there for 10 minutes and roll around and then we'd go off to work. But I often thought that Gabe should be a comic. And maybe Jason could be the sidekick. Yeah, anyway. Okay. And then my thanks to all of you for coming. You know, some of you came from long distances. My daughter Jody came all the way from New York. We're really happy to see you here. Thanks very much for coming, honey. And thanks Loretta and the girls and Claudette and Florence for coming all this way. It's a long trip, a long drive to make, and so we really appreciate having you here and sharing in this event. And also Mike and the boys. Oh, look at all my grandchildren. We're really happy and so pleased to have had you at the farm yesterday. And I am sorry I couldn't beat you in more games of pool. maybe next time I'll let you win. And we have 16 grandchildren, and we have one great grandchild, Remy, and they were supposed to come, but they were a little concerned about the large gathering, so they'll be here in a couple of weeks. But we've got quite a crew that Joan and I started here. We have 4 great, wonderful children, and all of these grandchildren, and now we're going on to the next generation, the great grandchild. Wow, what a family! So let's hear it for these people. I should mention that our anniversary is really not today, but it was on Thursday, September the 9th, but we decided to celebrate it on the weekend so that more people could come. And on Thursday, to start off the event, Father Jerry invited us to come to St. Mary's Church where we got married. And you saw some of the photos of the church and Joan and I walking down the aisle and so on. But anyway, he offered a mass up for our 60th wedding celebration. And it started at 8 o'clock in the morning. So we live way out on the farm. So we got up at 6 o'clock, and Claudette was so pleased that she could get up so early. But anyway, we did make it to Mass on time. We went on the ring road, which was a mistake, but cars lined up. I don't know what they're doing there. But I snuck onto the shoulder, drove on the shoulder.
Oh my gosh!
And amazingly, we got there on time. And what's that song? Get me to the church on time. But anyway, we did. But anyway, it was a really beautiful way to begin the Mass, to begin our day, our celebration by having this Mass by Father. And it brought back so many memories. When I had married my beautiful wife, Joan, I recall standing at the altar there with my best men, and the doors to the back of the church. I don't know if you know St. Mary's Church, but it's got a long hall. And the doors open, and there she was, my radiant bride. It seemed like it took forever for her to walk down that long aisle. But anyway, she finally did make it and fell into my waiting arm. After Mass, as you saw, I wish we could play the clip again because it would be appropriate here. We walked together, hand in hand, back down the aisle, out to the back of the church, to the foyer, and then outside. And it's funny how the good Lord gave us this beautiful gift of remembering things. But tears came to my eyes. I remembered us being, as soon as we opened those doors to go outside, all that confetti flying all over the place. You don't see that now anymore. I think you can find if you do it. But it was just like a snow shower hitting you, and it sure adds to the gaiety of the moment. But anyway, you don't see that very much anymore, and you don't see two Oldsmobiles all decked out with hundreds of Kleenex. And you saw in the cars there, the one had the rose, the big heart, all covered with paper flowers, and then on the other car was the tiered wedding cake with the bride and the groom in the back. But it's quite a sight to see that. You know, I wish we could have little models or something anyway, just so that the grandkids could see what they're missing out on. Maybe they might even want to start it up, the deal again. But as I was thinking how wonderful it is, how the good Lord puts this attraction that you have for a particular person. You know, when I was growing up, there's a few girls in my life, but when Duncan came along, you know, I don't know, she was into drugs, you know. So
She was into
the
drugs.
first few dates, I wasn't sure if I was.
On the couch.
What's that?
Now who's going to be sleeping on the couch?
There you go. But anyway, we just know that there's something special about that person, and that we want to spend the rest of our lives with them. And it's just a wonderful feeling. But feeling or falling in love, as you know, people who've been married for a few years, falling in love is the easy part. Getting married is the easy part. Staying committed over the many years that follow is the one that's the challenge. But at the end of the day, I don't want to get into my sermons, you know. You can but anyway.
I remember you always put God at the center of your life.
Wow, boy, that's
Such a
very
good
good.
student.
And I was coming to that. So, but anyway, at the end of the day, love is not so much a feeling as it is a decision. Love, if you stay with it, it matures to commitment and to responsibility. And it's a lifelong process. And marriage is a wonderful relationship and partnership and one of friendship if you see it through. I know today that I love my dear sweet Joan more than ever. She's the she's the prize. The prize of my life. But anyway, as Cindy did say, I would be remiss if I didn't say to place the good Lord at the center of your marriage and your lives, and pray for the Holy Spirit's guidance and strength to be faithful and committed and loving to your chosen sweetheart. I truly believe that this is the key to a happy marriage. For as long as I remember, no matter what the day brings to us, whether the things are good or not so good. But we make our way to the kitchen sink that opens up to the valley, and we go there just like two old mares going to the water.
Yeah.
But we're filled with living waters. Yeah, there you go. We gaze out into the valley and say morning prayers and thank the Lord for all of our blessings. We pray for each other, our children, friends, and people who promise to pray for. And in recent times, we've added another element to our morning ritual, and that is to anoint and bless one another with holy oil. And with holy oil in the tip of my thumb, I bless Joan's forehead, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I ask the good Lord to inspire Joan to make my best meal. Tell me how wonderful I am. and then she does the same. Anyway, it's a wonderful practice. And to ask God to heal you in this way, encourage you, help you, guide you, and love you is a very beautiful act of love. So in any case, 60 years of marriage is what we're celebrating today. We made it. The good Lord has showered us with many blessings, surrounded us with great children, great grandchildren, and now great great grandchildren. So we renewed our vows earlier on, and we began that way, and I closed that way. That the vows that Joan and I renewed before you today is an oath to continue to love each other unconditionally. I vow to love you in good times and bad, in sickness and in health. These are not just empty words. These are our word to God and to each other and to you, that we promise to do this. And I pray for all of our grandchildren and children to continue the same. So thank you again for coming, and I also invite you to come out to our acreage tomorrow. All of you. Many of you have read the books, the Angelic Letter series, and you may want to visit the prayer house and the house that's in part of the story. We'll be serving hot dogs and hamburgers and salads and all sorts of things, ice cream. Little Shiloh will want to look at how excited she is already. So please come and join the fun tomorrow. It's come and go, and Mike promises he won't burn the hot dogs and everything. And we'll continue on this celebration for another day. And so may God bless you all, and thank you very, very much for coming. Right. Thank you very much for coming to make this such a perfect day, and Joan and I will cherish this memory forever. Thank you very much.